All right. Okay. So, so if you're a return student at Pacific, you are probably familiar with our previous system, which was Tiger Jobs. And so Handshake has replaced Tiger Jobs as our career platform. We're really excited about the transition to Handshake, which we officially made in mid-June, because Handshake has more opportunities for students and recent grads than anywhere else online. So it's going to be a really great resource for you as a student if you're looking for an internship opportunity, or if you are a senior and starting to look for full-time opportunities, or even as an alumni. They do have entry-level roles, but then also more experienced roles as well on Handshake. And as you can see on this slide, it says that there's over 400,000 employers on part of the Handshake network, and we really think it's over 500 now at this point. And so the great thing about Handshake is that it makes it easier for us in career services to connect to employers that are within the Handshake network. And that results in you as a Pacific student or alumni getting access to more job postings. And Handshake has employers of all sizes from all different industries part of their network. And so we still have the local Stockton area employers that are looking for Pacific students, but then we also have up to the Fortune 500 companies that are looking to recruit Pacific students as well. And as I mentioned, employers from all different industries, so whether you're looking for nonprofit, a government agency, tech, research, healthcare, kind of anything in between, all of the industries are represented on Handshake. And if you are already on LinkedIn, Handshake is a similar feel to LinkedIn, where employers can actually reach out to you through the system based on what you have listed on your profile. And as you can see, there is on average 25,000 searches that are conducted by employers for students per month. So that's a huge number. And so it's important to get your profile completed as much as you can, because if you have a full profile, then you're 5 times as likely to have an employer reach out to you through the system than if you did not have your profile completed. And one more thing about making sure your profile is completed, not only will it allow employers to reach out to you about job opportunities, but you will also start getting notified about relevant like internship and career opportunities through the system that might interest you based on what you indicated on your profile. So later in the presentation, Michelle is going to go over the privacy settings and how to complete your profile and what aspects of the profile are the most important.
All right, so before we get into the training, I wanted to actually do a poll just to kind of see where everyone was at in the site and your confidence level using Handshake. You know, as we mentioned, we did just launch it in June, so hopefully you've all had some time to explore the site. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll right now, if you all can take that, and just let us know how confident you feel about using Handshake right now. So I'll give folks a few seconds to take this, and hopefully once we go through the training, we'll ask the question again, and then we'll see hopefully some of these answers had changed and you feel more confident going through the site throughout the semester. So I'll give folks a few more seconds. All right. Thank you.
Michelle, can I mention one more thing? Yeah. I wanted to mention and make sure, because make sure students and we're aware that Handshake, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in it when we're doing the demo later on, but Handshake is your source for both on-campus jobs. So if you're a current student looking for an on-campus job, we definitely still have departments that are hiring for on-campus positions. They're going to be virtual positions, but we still have those postings. So I wanted to make sure that students were aware, both for on-campus and off-campus opportunities. So.
Definitely. Okay, so to get started, you can always access Handshake through Inside Pacific, or you can also go to the URL pacific.joinhandshake.com. It's going to prompt you to log in with your Inside Pacific credentials, so you'll go ahead and log in with that information. And then once you get started, you're also going to want to complete your profile and fill out your interests. We'll go into that a little bit more. So hopefully you all have signed in. If you have registered for this event, that means that you registered through Handshake. So that's the first step. One of the first questions that Handshake does ask you is your preferred privacy settings. So there are 3 different settings you can have for your profile. Sam had mentioned it's kind of like LinkedIn, so the profile looks very similar to that, where it's essentially a resume where it has your experience, your background and education. So there are 3 settings you can have. Community is a first setting. This will give you access to peer messaging. So you can go ahead and message your colleague or your peers that are at Pacific, or you can also message any other students or alumni that are at other schools that are in the Handshake network. So that's great. And then you can also chat with employers through this setting as well. The employer setting, this is only makes you visible to employers that we work with, and you will not have access to peer messaging. But one benefit of Handshake is that you can have employers message you. So with this feature on, employers can go ahead and message you and maybe reach out if they saw your profile and maybe think you're a good fit for one of their opportunities, or they want you to learn more about their organization. So that setting will give you access to employers as well. And then the last setting is private. So this means that nobody, including students, alumni, or employers, will be able to see your profile. However, you still will have access to apply to jobs and other system settings, but just know that you will not be able to participate in any of those engagement tools that Handshake has built in. And then just keep in mind, we do have virtual career fairs coming up this semester. So there are 2 settings that you will need to have, either community or employers. So if you want to participate in any of those virtual fairs, you'll have to make sure that your profile is set to one of these 2 settings. Okay, so we keep on mentioning profiles. So this is a big thing in Handshake. That's because that really helps us know what type of opportunities you're interested in, and then Handshake is going to recommend things based off of your interests. So there are 3 must-haves that you should have on your profile. These questions are asked when you first log into Handshake, so hopefully you filled this out. So the first being, what job type are you looking for? If you're looking for an internship, maybe the start of the semester you are looking for an on-campus job, you can go ahead and fill out that questionnaire. You know, if it changes later on, you can go ahead and edit that as well. Next, where do you want to work? So if you're looking for local jobs close to campus, you can go ahead and put that location to Stockton. Once you graduate, if you're looking to go to San Francisco, any city, you're going to go ahead and put that in there. So it will tailor jobs based off of your interest. And then lastly, roles. So what do you want to do? Are you wanting to be a teacher, a researcher, engineer? It's going to ask you questions like that, so it kind of knows what roles to target towards you and you know, come up to the top of your dashboard. And then one tip, so like I mentioned, you can always update this information. So let's say at the beginning of the school year, you're really interested in an on-campus job, and then later on you're interested in getting an internship, you're going to want to adjust your interests depending on where you are at that time to make sure that the information that Handshake is giving you is relevant to what your needs are at that time. So I will, in the demo, I'll go ahead and show you where you can update that information, but these are the 3 main things that will really help you stand out on Handshake and get you the best information that you're interested in. And then here are just some statistics about if you do complete that profile. So 80% of students who did complete their profile on Handshake are contacted by an employer. As I mentioned, if you have the privacy features where you can go ahead and use peer messaging, this is where employers can go ahead and reach out to you and message you. So if you have that on and you have your profile complete, employers can find you that way. And then there's also over 25,000 student searches a month conducted by employers. So that's where they are using those 3 profile preferences that we had previously mentioned. So location, your job interest, and what type of work. So if there's a company who is in San Francisco looking for an internship in engineering, and you had those 3 on your profile, the likelihood that you'll be contacted by an employer is a lot higher. So just some ways to get you engaged in using the site.
So the Handshake network is not just for job postings, and so you do access the Career Services Center at Pacific through Handshake, and so you're able to request appointments. You can, if you're looking to apply for a job, whether it's an on-campus job or an internship or full-time, you will upload your resume in order to get your resume approved. Michelle will talk about that a little bit later, resume approval, but then also show you how to make those appointments. You'll be able to register for all the career fairs and the events that we have. So everything that we're hosting, all of the employer-related events, they will all go on Handshake, and so you have access to a listing of all the jobs. And we'll also show you the events area in the demo, because not only does it have events that are directly for Pacific students, but we've seen a lot of employers hosting their own sessions on Handshake. And so you're, as a Pacific student, you're part of the Handshake network and you're invited to attend those events. So we're really excited about that. And then we have the job interviews or internship interviews when employers are hosting those through Handshake as well.
All right, so Sam mentioned resume approvals. So just so you know, in Handshake, all resumes need to be reviewed before applying to jobs. So our career advisors will be reviewing all resumes submitted to Handshake before releasing that resume to employers. So when you submit a resume, your document will hold in one of the following statuses. So when you first submit it, it will be under pending. So that means that a career advisor has yet to review it. If it's approved, that means that there is no issues with the resume, and you can go ahead and start applying to jobs with that resume. Next, we have required changes. So this means that your resume may need a little bit of work and changes made to it. So it will not be approved, and we suggest that you look over our resume handbook and schedule an appointment with one of our career advisors. So that's what required changes. And then lastly, we have suggest changes. So this is where we're recommending that you make some changes to your resume, but we're not blocking you from submitting any applications. However, the employer will not see your resume until it is fully approved or the job closes. So just keep that in mind. If you are at the suggested resume stage, it might be good to still look over that resume handbook and to schedule an appointment with one of our career advisors so you can go ahead and get that status to approve, so you'll have no issues moving forward with applying to jobs in the system. So just keep that in mind. Those are the 3 different areas that we have for resume approval. Okay.
We did have one student, I was just going to mention in the chat, ask about the if you can submit more than one resume. So you can do that, but just keep in mind that each one would be approved by the career advisor. And so so you can definitely do that. Maybe make sure to save them with a specific title if it's for a job that you want to customize that particular resume for. Make sure to save it in a way that you can distinguish it on the system. But yes, you can definitely do that, but each one would just be approved each time. So great question.
Yes. Okay, so demo time. So I'm going to go ahead and log in to Handshake and show you some of the features on there. So hopefully you all can see this. So this is what it looks like when you first log into Handshake. What I had mentioned, you can see this interface is really modern. So if you were used to Tiger Jobs, it's quite different. So there are some buckets. I'm going to go through each of these buckets, but Like I mentioned, when you are filling out your profile, that's where you're putting your interests. So what type of jobs you're interested in and what industry you want to go into. So this is where that information that you filled out on your profile is going to be. So I say it's like Netflix. So, you know, when you first go on to Netflix and it recommends movies for you based off of your interest and what you've watched, Handshake is very similar where there's an algorithm based off of your interaction with the site and your interests that you fill out. It's going to have those jobs on the home page. So, you know, they grab your attention and you can go ahead and save any of these jobs if you would like to review them later. So this is where this information that you fill out in your profile is going to pop up. And then we do have some important information that we just like to put to your attention. So you can always look here. We have the steps on how to fill out your Handshake profile. Our resume approval process is there. And then we'll go ahead and highlight any upcoming events. So the event that's going on now. So we'll always be highlighting upcoming events so you can go ahead and register for those. So let's go ahead and go into jobs. So this is a lot more detailed than the jobs that you will see on your homepage. Okay. So what I recommend, so for here, this is going to have a lot more information for you to filter. So I definitely recommend whenever you're on the job search, you want to take advantage of the filters. So some of the filters will ask you if you're looking for, you know, work study, paid roles only, on campus. So this is where you can go ahead and filter all those types. Employer preferences, some employers do have preferences based off of what your school year is, your major, your GPA, things like that. If you have a work visa, sponsorship questions. So this is a lot more detailed. So I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a certain position, you can go ahead and use these filters because like we mentioned, Handshake has a network of over 400,000 employers. So right here, you'll see we have over 3,600 jobs. So that's a lot to go through. So this is where we recommend that you turn on these filters to really narrow your search so you're not digging through all of these jobs, and the ones that are most relevant for you will go ahead and pop up. So filters is a great part to use. And then save, this is where if you saved any of those applications, they'll come here. So if you weren't ready to apply, you'll find those jobs there. Application, so you can review any job that you had applied for. You can go ahead and see this here so you can see your status. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the home page. So that's the job section. So definitely use that to help with your search. Next, we're gonna go into employers. So this is really cool. Like we had mentioned, Handshake has a network of over 400,000 employers. Right here, you'll actually see that number is a lot larger at over 500,000. So you can go ahead and search for any employer that may be in the network to see if they're in Handshake, and you can go ahead and click their profile and learn more about that company. So this is great. You learn more about the company culture, what their mission is, some highlights, how large their company is, and what their industry is. And you can also just find some keywords that folks have said, you know, managers are good mentors, a very supportive company, great networking opportunities. And then this is where that community section really comes in play. So as I mentioned, if you want to engage with other students in the system, you can see that these students have worked actually for this company. So if you're interested in working for this company, you can go ahead and message other students and say, hey, how did you get involved with that company? How was your interview process? How did you get a job there? Any advice? So that's really cool is you can go ahead and engage with students who have worked there. So, and then you can also see any jobs that are actually with the company. So you can see all active jobs on Handshake that you may be interested in applying to. So this is a really cool feature to learn more about companies. It's very similar to like a LinkedIn page. And then you can look at reviews. So what other folks say about the company who may have worked there, what they liked, what was different, some advice. So, and these are all students who are in Handshake. So this is great. And then you get to build a larger network with students who are in the same position as you. And then if you're really interested in an employer, you can go ahead and follow them, and then you'll go ahead and get alerts whenever they may have a job posting or may be participating in an event with us. You'll get notifications if you follow that employer. And then the next bucket we have is community. And this is, like I mentioned, that community network that you can have with other students that are part of Handshake schools. So Handshake is the #1 job board for college students. That's because it is the #1 job board used by career centers across the US. So you'll likely find, one of your friends at other universities are on Handshake because their career center uses it as a preferred job board. So you can look for University of the Pacific students. You can look for students at other schools. So you can filter and look here, other majors where they've worked. So then you can go ahead and reach out to them and message them, and also look at their profiles there. So this is a really cool feature. It's a lot more interactive and great for networking. And then one other feature under the community section is the Q&A section. So this is like a message board. So you can go ahead and search for keywords, maybe for a company or interview questions, or any advice, and you can go ahead and search for them here. Or you can also ask a question, or you can answer a question. Maybe you worked at KPMG and you have some advice for this student. You can go ahead and reply here with your advice. So that's really cool. We had somebody from Central Michigan University ask a question, somebody from Temple University responded, and then also BYU and Idaho. So those are in all different states, so it's really cool. You get to connect with different students at different universities. Okay, so now we're gonna, so sorry about that. Kicked me out for a second. Okay. Okay, so the next section on Handshake is career paths. So this is where it just tells you general information about certain industries or job titles that you may be interested in. So if you are interested in going into being, an HR manager or specialist, here's where you can find information on that. So sorry about that. So here is where you can find some salary information about this job, some jobs with this title that are in Handshake that you can currently apply for, and then some top cities for this role. And then this is where you can see upcoming events. So the event that we had today, and then here are some events that other employers that are hosting throughout Handshake. So you can go ahead and sign up for any of these as well. Yelp has some, and then also career service events will also be in here as well. And then you can also filter by career fairs. We do have upcoming career fairs. We have our on-campus job fair starting in 2 weeks. We have Meet the Firms that is hosted by the School of Business. And then we have our fall internship and career fair coming up in October. So you can go ahead and click on these and see what employers are participating and sign up for sessions. More information will be coming about these events in your inbox soon, and we'll show you some more steps on how to participate in that. And then lastly, we have Career Center. So this is where you're going to engage with our office. So this page will show you how to sign up for appointments with our career advisors. So you can go ahead and click appointments, and this is where you can schedule a time. We meet over various topics: resume, cover letter, job search skills, Handshake, help, LinkedIn, mock interviews. There's so many. So if you click here, we are currently doing virtual, either by phone or Zoom, or we also will do email appointments. So you can go ahead and go through those steps to make an appointment with one of our career advisors. And then resources. So if you're looking for just some general tips about career services, we have our resume writing handbook in here. We have our cover letter handbook, interview skills, LinkedIn checklist. So most likely one of our career advisors, if they're recommending you make some changes to either resume or cover letter, you'll find those resources here that they recommend, so you can work on that on your own time. And that's about it as far as what that tab does. You can also scroll down and find our contact information if you need to get a hold of us. And then our staff is listed here, so you can also email us this way. And then we also have our upcoming events here as well. So these are just hosted by anyone within Pacific. And then one last section I'm going to go into is the profile. So in the corner, you'll go ahead and see your icon. This is where you can update your profile. So we mentioned profile is really key to engage with the site. So like we mentioned, this looks very similar to LinkedIn. So we recommend uploading a professional photo. So if you have a LinkedIn headshot, you can go ahead and put it there, because this photo will be seen by employers and other students. So please keep it professional. And then we also, this is where you'll go ahead and put your education information, your work experience. My profile is PowerCat, so I am a mascot. So this is just my test profile. And then this is where you can go ahead and update any of those interests as well that you're asked at the beginning when you first log in. So this information is going to tailor those job recommendations that Handshake provides you. And then documents, here's where you're going to upload those resumes, cover letter, transcripts, anything like that. Just remember, resumes do need to be approved, but any other document types do not need to be approved, so those are fine once they're uploaded. Applications is where you can see applications you submitted. You can also find that under the jobs feature. And then interviews, if you have any interviews coming up. We do on-campus interviews, but we will be doing those via Zoom, and we'll let you know whenever employers do have available interviews. And then here's also where you can update those career interests. So you can also do that on your profile, but here's where you can edit those different interests that you're, at that moment. So, and also your notifications, privacy settings, and things like that. So that is pretty much it for the demo. I'm gonna see if there was any chat questions. Sam, I don't know if you can see the chat. I can't see any of them.
Yeah, I think we're good. We didn't have any questions, but just good feedback.
Okay, great.
About all the features of Handshake, so that's great to hear.
Awesome. And definitely, I just recommend playing with the site yourself. It's just going to take some practice going through it, your comfort level. And like I mentioned, you can go ahead and schedule an appointment with one of our career advisors. And if you do have any technical issues, reach out to our office, and I will more than likely be the person working with the help desk to get anything fixed.
And then, so you can download the app for Handshake, and so it gives you easier access. You can just check it on your phone, so you don't have to go through your laptop or computer to log on to Handshake. And so you can always kind of check in every day or every couple of days to see if the system has notified you about any new job postings that might be relevant to you based on what your profile is. And so I'm going to go to the next screen. And for the upcoming events, so we do have what we call Career Connection, and that is going to be every Wednesday from 11 to 12. So this was our first Career Connection, and we are going to be hosting those every Wednesday throughout the semester. We're going to talk about building a resume. We're going to have an open house where you can get to meet all the staff, and we'll give you updates on what we're going to be doing throughout the semester, and then also meet the academic advising staff as well. We're going to be talking about job trends, career fair prep, how to network remotely, tips on how to interview in a virtual environment. I'm going to be hosting a session on internship search and strategies and how to help prepare you for your first day of your internship. And then we also have a salary negotiation workshop. So a lot of great information throughout the semester. So again, it's every Wednesday at 11 to 12. You can find all the information on Handshake. We'll primarily be doing it through Zoom, but all the Zoom links will be on Handshake, and we'll send out reminders. As Michelle mentioned, we have our on-campus job fair that's coming up on Wednesday, September 9th from 1:30 to 4:30 on the Handshake platform, and then also our internship and career fair on Thursday, October 8th from 10 to 2. So those are both on Handshake. We'll be sending out more information and instructions on how to kind of navigate the job fairs, but just as kind of a note now, since they are on Handshake, you do have to register not only for the overall event, so the overall job fair for on campus or the overall internship and career fair, but employers that are participating will be hosting like 30-minute sessions so that you can get to know more information about the company, the types of opportunities that they have, the career paths that are available at that company. And in addition to the 30-minute sessions, employers will also be hosting one-on-one sessions. So you'll get a 10 minutes time slot that you can sign up for, that you'll meet directly with the employer and be able to talk with them. So it's really important to kind of remember those steps. Register for the overall career fair, and then once you do that, you want to go in, look at the employers who are participating and ones you're interested in, sign up for their sessions, and then sign up for any one-on-one slots that you might be interested in. But we are going to send out a lot of resources. We're going to have career fair prep information before the big career fair in October, but definitely feel free to reach out if you have any questions about how to navigate that system. We'd be happy to help you.
Okay, great. And then we're going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A. So I think there might be some questions in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. Let's see. Okay. So what is the main difference between Handshake and LinkedIn? So Handshake is just for students and alumni that are with the particular schools that are in the Handshake network. So it's only for university career centers, so it's very specific. So those employers that are engaged in the site are looking to hire students at our school. They post opportunities with our school. They're hosting events with our school. They're chatting with students and alumni. So LinkedIn is a public site, so it's a lot more competitive. You have people at all different career levels that are, on those sites looking for jobs. LinkedIn is a lot more public, so you obviously can share that profile with anyone, your link. Handshake is just, your profile is only viewed by those folks that are in the Handshake network. So definitely more of just a by itself, network rather than LinkedIn, but we definitely recommend LinkedIn as well, because that's going to be more broad as far as who you can reach out to. But just keep in mind, Handshake is a lot less competitive, since it's only for students in the network, and these employers are specifically saying they want to hire Pacific students and alumni and signing up for our events. So that's one good benefit. Sam, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, I don't think. I think they're both really good resources, because you might find companies on LinkedIn that that you might not see on Handshake, and vice versa. So it's definitely good to keep a good eye on both of those platforms.
Thank you.
And it's good because when Handshake is not just the jobs, like you mentioned, like it it's the system that connects you with our career services, and so you get that resume review. You can tailor cover letters and get those to be reviewed by our career advisors, and so that's kind of definitely a benefit to Handshake, and that you can get those documents reviewed before submitting them to employers too. So.
Yes. And then we had a question that's only for internships. So I think this was probably brought up when you were talking about events. So I don't know if this student wants to clarify, but Handshake does have internships. It has all other job opportunity types on campus, jobs, full-time jobs, part-time jobs. You can also find co-ops and fellowships on there. So definitely internships as well, but all those other job opportunities. So if there was another part of that question, feel free to ask so we can be sure to answer that. And then, yeah, if anyone has any other questions, you can go ahead and put it in the chat or unmute yourself. So it looks like we're getting some
there was
really
one
good
question.
feedback.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say there was one question about the events. So yeah, you can go to the events and you'll see the events that are like very specific to us, like the events the career services staff is hosting, employer information sessions that we're hosting, but then there's also other employers that are hosting their own events through Handshake that you now have access to as a Pacific student because you are part of the Handshake network. And so you'll see a lot of different events from different employers that are in different industries. So definitely keep an eye on that. It'll tell you exactly kind of the login or what platform that they're going to be using for a specific event. So all of that information will be in the event details. But again, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you with anything. But there's even during the summer, there was we're excited to see that, and I'm sure it will just continue throughout the school year.
Yeah. All right. So we'll give folks a couple more time. Okay. So if we go to grad school, can we associate our profile with multiple schools, or do we have to get another Handshake profile? Good. So I'm assuming you're with a different grad school, or are you going to grad school at Pacific? So a completely different school, right? So if your school is on Handshake, then that school will go ahead and give you a separate login. So they will have their own network, their own employers that they work with, their own events that they host, and separate login information, because more than likely it will be connected to your school's single sign-on, just like ours is connected to Inside Pacific. So it's very unique to that school. But if you are going to a different grad school, we recommend still putting that information on your profile. So you do show your education. So it's like your resume. You still want to put that on your profile at this university, and then also the other university, put that, you go to Pacific as well. So, all right. So if there's no more questions, we do have a final poll. So we did ask at the beginning what your confidence level was using the site. Hopefully these tips were helpful enough so you feel a little bit better using the site, you feel confident, you're ready to start applying for jobs and looking at those events that we have coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and ask another question. So if you can just take some time to answer this. Awesome. I get some thumbs up, some very confident. I didn't have very confident last time. So that's good to hear. You have confident. Good. Okay. All right. I'll give folks a few more seconds. That's good to hear. And keep in mind, if you still have any questions after our career advisors do help you with the site, and then you can always reach out to our office, and maybe we'll be doing some more Handshake trainings throughout the semester too. So just be on the lookout on those events. So thank you for that. And then I do have one more question since we are at the end, just to see how you felt about this event and what tools you got away from it. So you can go ahead and answer this as well. All
And I
right.
think Michelle might be showing the contact us slide, but that's for the general career services. But if you wanted to reach out directly to us, we don't have our emails on the slide, but my name is on the screen. It's just spfeiffer@pacific.edu. Michelle's is marcos@pacific.edu. So just our first initial and our last name written together at pacific.edu. So definitely feel free to reach out to us. And again, we're happy to help. I know Michelle's kind of the point of contact for Handshake questions, but if you have, we handle different industries, and so we support employers within different industries, and so if you have specific questions about kind of job search or anything that you're interested in, or an employer or job that you see on Handshake, definitely feel free to reach out, and we are definitely happy to help you.
Yes. All right, so there's our contact information, so general contact information for the office. But again, those emails that Sam mentioned, you can go ahead and reach out to us directly. And then our contact information is on Handshake, also under the Career Center tab. You can find our individual contact information there as well, and go ahead and email us. So. All right, that concludes the presentation. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining in and sharing your feedback. I'm seeing some really good comments in the chat. I hope you really enjoy Handshake. This was a big transition for us. We're really excited about it. We've definitely seen a lot of positive things as far as the engagement and the number of jobs posted. So yeah, we hope to see you at other events. Like we mentioned, we have events every Wednesday and our upcoming career fairs. So we hope you join us and have a good rest of the semester.
Thank you.
Bye.